Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and let's continue our lessons with the Nayaka dynasty. Alright, so this will be the final video of the kings of Kandyan kingdom.
Like a Hellcat.
So let's talk about King Sri Vijay Rajasingha, right? He was basically the wife's brother of the last Sinhala king, who was called King Sri Veera Parakrama Narendra Singha. Alright, so he belonged to the Nayaka dynasty, alright, and also he also married a South Indian princess. Now, when King Sri Vijay Rajasingha came to power, since he was a Nayakar king, the aristocrats didn't support him fully, right? And also we know that because the previous king, who was King Sri Veera Parakram Narendra Singha, was a weak ruler, during his time itself, the aristocrats had a firm grip on power, right? So basically they were like not listening to the king anymore, something like that. Disputes started arising between the king and the aristocrats. So when King Sri Vijay Rajasingha came to power, he had to face all those challenges, like how to keep those aristocrats under check. To face that, he started appointing Nayaka relatives to higher positions in the government. So he basically embraced Buddhism, and he also grew in the association of Buddhist monks. And Theros like Valivida Saranankara Thero guided him to be able to bring Upasampada. He tried to bring Upasampada from Burma, but it was not successful. King Kirti Sri Rajasingha came to power after King Sri Vijay Rajasingha. Okay, so he was only 16 years old when he came to power, right? And he was basically the wife's brother of King Sri Vijay Rajasingha, right? Because when King Sri Vijay Rajasingha died, he didn't leave an heir to the throne, right? So because of that, his wife's brother, who was King Kirti Sri Rajasingha, came to power when he was as young as 16 years old, alright? And then he also created a Buddhist revival in the country. Now in the next slide, let's learn about the steps taken by King Kirti Sri Rajasingha to revive Buddhism in Sri Lanka, right? So under the patronage of King Kirti Sri Rajasingha, there took place a Buddhist revival in the country. So these are some of the steps taken by King Kirti Sri Rajasingha to revive Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Okay, so he basically sent messengers to Thailand and took steps to bring back and establish higher ordinance in Sri Lanka. Now, higher ordinance means Upasampada, alright? So, he sent messengers to Thailand, and as a result, a group of bhikkhus led by Upali Thero came to Sri Lanka, and they also were able to establish a new sect called the Siam sect. Okay, so Siam Desha means Thailand, alright? And also he renovated temples all over the country, right? In the upcountry and in the low country, and he started a campaign to renovate all the temples in the country, right? And also he granted the post called Sangharaja to Valivita Sri Saranankara Thero, because Saranankara Thero instructed him and guided him in this Buddhist revival, and so because of that he granted a very high post of Sangharaja to Saranankara Thero. There were a few fights between the Dutch and the Kandyan kingdom between 1760 to 1765. The Dutch even attempted an invasion of Kandyan kingdom, right? So Kirti Sri Rajasingha, King Kirti Sri Rajasingha, had to sign a peace treaty between the Dutch and the Kandyan kingdom to end all hostilities, right? This peace treaty was signed in 1766. Now, King Kirti Sri Rajasingha didn't have children, so because of that, his brother came to power after his death, who was King Rajadi Rajasingha. Okay. Now, for the first time in the history, disputes or disagreements or conflicts between the aristocrats of Kandyan kingdom and Nayakar kings started arising, alright. King Rajadi Rajasingha is super important because there's a very significant event that took place under his rule when he was in Kandy. Before 1796, it was the Dutch who ruled the coastal areas of Sri Lanka. As we already know, the Dutch were able to drive out the Portuguese during the time of King Rajasingha too, and they established their control in Sri Lanka. But by 1796, the British came and they drove the Dutch out of the country, and they established themselves, or they seized the areas which were under the control of the Dutch. Alright, so after that, a lot of significant events took place, and the invasion of the Kandyan kingdom by the English took place, and let's learn about that under King Sri Vikramarajasinghe. Okay, the last Nayakar king of Kandyan kingdom, and also he is the last king to rule Kandyan kingdom. And not only that, he was also the last king to have ever ruled Sri Lanka, basically, right? So his name is King Sri Vikramarajasinghe. All right, and he was known as Prince Kannasamy before he became the king. And Pilimatalawa Mahadikaram, who was a chieftain, who was a very powerful person in Kandy, established him as the king of Kandy. Right, and but he leaned towards his Nayakar relatives, right? He didn't support the aristocrats of Kandy. So he gradually leaned towards his Nayakar relatives. He started supporting his relatives. He brought all his relatives and gave like high positions of the government to them, and then as a result, disputes or disagreements started, flourishing between the Kandyan king, the aristocrats of Kandy, right? But while facing a lot of challenges like that, while having a lot of disputes within Kandy, right? So basically the unity of the Kandyan kingdom was at stake, right? Even though, there were problems inside Kandy, there were internal conflicts in Kandy, he was able to defeat the British Army's invasion attempt back in 1803. So in 1803, the British Army tried to invade Kandy, but they were defeated by King Sri Vikramarajasinghe and his army, right? But there's a lot of things took place after 1803, right? Let's talk about those things later, and also you have a lot of content on those in grade 11. And he was eventually arrested. Now basically, the English were able to invade Kandy back in 1815, right? So he was arrested, and he was deported to Vellore, a city in India, in 1815. And guys, that's all you need to know about the kings of Kandyan kingdom. And in our next video, we are going to learn about the administrative structure and the economic system, how the economy worked in Kandyan kingdom, and also the social organization, so how the marriages took place and things like that in our next video. So we can conclude our Kandyan kingdom lesson with the next video. Thank you guys.